I've collected all the data, created a map of every camping spot, and tallied our fuel costs. In this video, I'm going to cover that, as well as some tips on riding the ferries in Alaska and in British Columbia. From our home in Southern California, we traveled 10,000 miles and stayed in 46 different campgrounds. It was a mix of both public and private. We spent one night in a cabin. We spent $1,426.95 on rent. 81 nights on the road total. 20 of those we camped for free with friends and family and random kind of pull-out spots. That averages out to $17.60 per night. But if you eliminate the one night we spent in a cabin, then it's closer to $16. One of the factors in our total cost breakdown is that we are over 62 and have the America the Beautiful Senior Pass. Now, if you are over 62 years old and a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, you can get an annual pass for $20 or the lifetime pass for $80. It's a huge bargain. We saved, if I added up all I think it was 20 nights in one of these facilities, we saved about $166 off of the going rate. Now, a campground host that we met suggested that we take a picture of our pass. And I thought that was a really good idea, because if you are ever asked to show that you have the annual pass, you'll need to either produce your card, but she said a photo of the card would suffice. So now let's move to my computer and the Google Map program that I created all of these campsites to share with you. A link will be in the description box below this video. But let me first give you a little refresher course on how to use Google Maps if you're trying to create your own maps for planning purposes. The first thing you need to do is to go to Google Maps and then go over to these three little lines on the left side of the screen. And when you tap on that, you'll see a menu. Scroll down to the one that says Your Places. And once you get here, then click on Maps. And these are all the maps that I've created, and for different projects or for genealogy, or what you can use it for so many purposes. But here's the map that I created with the campsites to share with you, and then I will open it in My Maps. Here's the map of all of our campsites for the trip. Now, if you are creating your own map and you want to learn how to add something to this, then all you have to do is click up here. You can type in coordinates, or you can type in the name of a campground or a location, whatever you like. And once you do that, let me show you. I'll put in Fallen Leaf. I'll put in Fallen Leaf Lake. And when you get this screen, you then have a bunch of options. You can change the color, and it can signify anything you like. You can change the icon to show what that is. I used the campground one for my map. And then you can also click on the edit tool, and you can change the name of the title here, or you can add things like what amenities it has, showers, or it has hookups, or those kinds of things. And then all you have to do is click Save, and that spot will be saved on your map. To delete something, you just click on it and then hit the trash can, and that will delete the item that you've added. So let me tell you what the color codes mean. The orange-red is to signify that it was either a U.S. Forest Service, Park Service, BLM campground, someplace where we were able to take advantage of the 50% discount. The blue indicates private campgrounds. So those are mostly campgrounds with hookups, and they're typically much more expensive. The yellow signifies it's a government campground. It could be a state, a provincial park, a county, a city, something like that. And those are usually the bargain campgrounds. And then the green signifies that it was free. It was either free because we were mooch docking or free because we were either boondocking or just pulled out on the side of the road and camped. Or it was, like, for example, down here in Oregon, this was free because it was a rest area. Now let's move over to the chart with the list of the campgrounds and the costs of each one. Okay, here is the list of all the campgrounds where we stayed. The U.S. campgrounds are in this column and the Canadian in this column. At the very end, I converted the Canadian dollars over to U.S. dollars for the grand total, which is here. I did not include any of the free spots. And the check mark indicates places where we got the 50% discount because of the senior pass. The least expensive campground was Goodale Creek at $250, which is a BLM campground. And the most expensive was Benton Hot Springs, which is a private campground. And just to note, there are no hookups there. It is basically just a spot to park your vehicle and a private hot tub. Now let's move over to fuel and how much money we spent on that. First, I need to start with a caveat. Our new tires are larger than the stock tires, and we have not had our odometer recalibrated. And we probably won't, because we never heard back from Mercedes. So we are actually driving more miles than our odometer shows. So you have to take that into consideration with these numbers. This is only meant to be kind of a ballpark figure for you. And of course, you never know what the gas prices will be at any given year or month. So for example, we filled up before we left, and the price of diesel was $4.29 at our local station. I just filled up a few days ago at the same station, and the price was $3.89. So it can vary quite a bit just month to month. Now, traveling 9,711 miles, which is what we registered, we burned through 533 gallons of diesel and spent $1,880.67. And that averages out to 18.22 miles per gallon. If you consider that we are actually probably driving more miles, the mileage is probably closer to 19 miles per gallon. Here is the mileage chart that I created. And I tried to remember to put the location where we purchased the fuel. I missed one spot, but I've got the U.S. gallons, and the Canadian stations, I've converted it over to liters and to the U.S. dollars. And down at the bottom is the totals, and I've also got a little explanation about our tires and the date for the conversion, which is August of 2019. The most expensive gasoline we bought was actually in Mammoth Lakes, California at $4.59 a gallon. And the least expensive was at the Costco in Anchorage. Now, most Costcos do not sell diesel, but we found two places where they did, the Costco in Anchorage and also the Costco in Prince George. So the one in Anchorage was $2.69 a gallon. So that is that for the mileage, and again, it will be the PDF of this will be in the description box below, or a link to it will be in the description box below. I have one tip about buying diesel in Canada. Now, in the US, I know there's no standard, there's no industry standard, but most of our diesel nozzles are green. But we noticed that in Canada, they were mostly yellow. So just be really careful when you're filling up. If you're taking regular or diesel fuel, make sure you're getting the right fuel for your car. Now, the last thing I want to share with you is our experience on the ferries. Now, even though the ferry strike kept us from taking the ferry, the big ride, the 3-day ride from Skagway to Prince Rupert, we still got in 3 ferries, and I have a few tips from our experience. First, make your reservations early. One thing we learned is that the ferry between Skagway and Prince Rupert actually goes back to Haines, so we should have booked it from Haines to Prince Rupert. And if we go back, which we are hoping to do, we will make sure that we book it from Haines to Prince Rupert. And also, we will probably book it with a stop in Juneau. So book your ferry to get off in Juneau, explore a little bit there, and then you can get back on the ferry and continue on your journey through that inland passage. I would also recommend that you book a berth. 2 nights, people say you can sleep on the decks, on the deck chairs, but I mean, I know that we would have been miserable if we had done that. So book a berth and book one with its own private bathroom. You need to remember that on all the ferries, you can't go back to your cars once you've left them, or once they've left the dock. So you might want to take a duffel bag that you can stow your things into while you're getting to the next spot. Be sure to bring your binoculars on deck, because on the Whittier to Valdez ferry, we saw lots of wildlife. We found the accommodations on all the ferries to be quite nice. The seats were very comfortable. Nice views, and the food was really good, and the staff was really friendly. So it was a great experience, and that's why we were eager to do more ferries along the way. If you're a little bit late in booking your ferries, you can try to do a standby, and we did that on our sailings from Vancouver to Vancouver Island and then Victoria to Port Angeles. You show up early and they will put you in a queue for people who are riding standby. Now, when we pulled into the Vancouver ferry, we just pretty much rolled right on. They had plenty of space. That ferry from Vancouver is huge and can accommodate, it seemed like hundreds and hundreds of vehicles. The ferry from Victoria to Port Angeles, there are only, I think, 4 ferries that run. So it was a little more difficult getting the time we wanted. We had a late departure, and that was just going to get us into Washington at a really late time. So we decided to do a standby there. Now, the first ferry we did a standby, we missed it by 3 cars, but then that put us in the queue right at the beginning for the next ferry to stand by, which turned out to be wonderful because the ferry dock is pretty much right in the middle of town, and they let you leave your car, you lock your car, you leave it, it's parked for free, so you don't have to worry about parking, and then it gives you time to explore Victoria. And we did that, we went shopping, and we had a blast.
So here we are in Victoria. The van is over there.
We tried to do a standby on the first ferry.
Second ferry.
Well, first ferry for us, second ferry of the day. They only have 4 ferries, and we were the 3rd car did not make it. So we're going to stand by for the next ferry, which leaves at 3, but it gave us, several hours to come and walk around Victoria, which is absolutely gorgeous. And what a beautiful day. It's a gorgeous day.
So what treasures have you scored?
Well, you bought a hat. John has his hat fetish. I kind of have a hat fetish too. I bought a hat. I bought a hat from Ireland. So there's my Ireland hat. We need hats in Southern California. Wool hats.
Like a fish needs a bicycle.
Right, like a fish needs a bicycle. And what else? Anything else? Oh, I bought some shoes. New shoes. And ice cream. We're just trying to use up our Canadian money, that's all. That's it. I have lots more tips to share with you from our Alaska trip, but those will have to wait till next time. Thanks for watching.